From the twisted mind of the legendary John Carpenter comes a lame action heist movie where a rocket-powered car stays locked in a parking garage and charismatic thieves have no charisma. We conclude our Linda Hamilton trilogy with Black Moon Rising, today on Nothing Movies. I thought you were going to do like the whole THX thing.
How could an actress, pigeonholed, known for basically only one franchise, typecast, stuck doing love scenes with Jim Belushi, an icon, action hero, badass of the 90s, be stuck doing Christian films with Shatner and some horses, and other films that are lame, and the world vaguely knows her name? What's her name, man? Linda Hamilton. This is a trilogy on Linda Hamilton.
Ooh,
I wrote this bit 20 minutes ago. Can you tell?
You know what you've done. Now you're going to have to do like a Hamilton-esque rap intro for
that was really impressive.
Graeme, you are witness to something new and different and exciting.
Wow.
Yeah,
I feel honored. That was really good. And
yeah.
I just saw Hamilton too, and it was like I was back at the Queenie.
Man, I'm just going to sit in this for a little while because this is what it feels like to be supported in my bits. It's nice. This is what it feels like, Jameson.
Good.
Yeah.
This is what positive affirmation feels like, and I've been missing it for so long on this
show.
show.
Well, if you put as much effort and energy into that as you've done some of your other dingers over the years, then maybe I would support you a little bit more.
All right. Well, welcome back, however you wish to self-identify, to Nothing Movies, where we ask the question, the fuck is this? It's the podcast where we pick an actor's filmography and we pick the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movie that they've made and decide whether or not it's got a certain something or if it's just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
Are you sure you're not Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I don't know.
All right.
Let me check.
While you do that, I'm Jameson.
I have a Tony.
Oh, yeah.
I have an Emmy. I don't have an Oscar, though. You know what? I think I am. I think I actually am.
Okay, yeah.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Is that what you identify as?
And this is what I identify as an almost EGOT.
Yeah.
And today it's Judgment Day on the Nothing Movies of Linda Hamilton with 1986's Black Moon Rising, which is objectively an awesome fucking title.
Yeah.
You just hear that and the mind just races.
I thought it was a sci-fi movie.
I did too.
Especially with the cover?
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at the poster for this,
it
looks very sci-fi.
Man, this is like Blade Runner.
I had a lot of high hopes for this movie, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I thought this was going to be a very sleek, 80s new wavy, synthy, stylized actioner. And I was very let down by this movie.
I mean, Black Moon Rising, the mind just races, what could that mean? What could that possibly mean? And then you watch the movie, and it's about a car.
Yeah, it's about a car.
A supercar.
It's about a very fast car.
And a cassette.
That runs on tap water.
Yeah.
Rising!
Mm-hmm.
Exciting.
And they don't do enough with that car. I mean,
no, they really don't. It's kind of about a car.
I mean,
a car is adjacent to the plot of Black Moon Rising.
And then they lock it in a garage for most of the movie.
For most of the film, and you're just.
Yeah, it should be called Black Moon Sitting in a garage.
Black Moon
test drive.
Black Moon Parking.
Yeah.
Black Moon Parking.
But to help us talk about this, we have a guest in the studio. You've heard him on the mic from Unreal, from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, he's
from
looked at my IMDb.
Oh.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow and other fine canceled television shows.
Oh, yes, all because of me too.
A man
canceled in the classic sense, not in that they did anything bad.
Yeah.
The only bad thing they did was not attract viewership.
I mean, I don't know. I've never watched Unreal, so I can't speak for the content of that one. A man that some have said has the cadence and charm of a young Victor Garber. Graeme McComb is on the show. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This is so cool. This is so cool. I'm glad to be a part of this. This is already fun. I'm already having fun.
Aww.
That's great. That's what we aim for here. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a while. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
I think the last time we saw each other was at Dune.
Yes.
But we didn't
very briefly.
Didn't really get a chance to talk there. Not at the movie, dude. We were on the planet.
Yeah, we were on the
Dude.
planet. Yeah.
We were doing our
Oh,
own...
wait, it's a movie?
It's a documentary.
Yeah. It's a book too. Yeah. We were doing our own thing. I had like my cult stuff going on. You, I think, had your hand in a box of pain.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell.
I was just trying to get
happens in
some
that,
spice, you know?
Well, I mean, like, it's all about the spice.
All about the spice.
It's about the spice melange. Is what it's about. I have been told. But so how we talked a little bit downstairs, but you know, like just in general, how the hell are you, man? How this is an unscripted catch up.
Yeah.
I genuinely want to know how you're doing.
You know, I'm good. You know, I have a happy life. I have a fiance. I have a dog.
Congratulations.
You know,
for both.
Yeah,
both of them.
I can't complain. You know, anything I'm going to complain about is pretty small, to be honest. Yeah, acting haven't done much acting this year.
Mm-hmm.
I work
same
as a bartender at Miku Restaurant. Little plug there. Come in and I'll give you a free drink.
Tell him Graeme sent you.
Yeah.
Wait. Actually, if you come in, you'll give him a free drink.
100%.
All right.
If whoever's listening,
you're hearing this
comes
first.
to Miku,
one per customer. You should specify.
and you say, "I heard you on the podcast," I will give you a free beverage of your choice.
I mean, that's publicity you can't buy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, within reason, I'm not going to give you a very expensive sake.
A triple zombie, please.
Yeah, sure. I can. I'll make that, and you guys too. You guys can come by. I'll give you free drinks. I don't know if you guys drink, but
I mean, we've gone back and forth on like, we're gonna swear off booze, and
there have been periods on this show when I have been sober. There have been periods on the show when Jameson has been sober. I feel like we're both off the wagon currently right now.
Off the sauce.
Yeah.
Oh,
because you know.
But I'm only.
Oh no, I'm on the sauce. I'm off the wagon, but I'm on the sauce.
We just
off the
specify
wagon,
that we mean,
on the
like,
sauce.
when we're not recording. We don't do these drunk. Occasionally we do.
We did once. We did once when we did a movie about beer specifically. We did.
Let's see. Let's recount this here. There was Grabbers.
There's Grabbers.
There was Assault on Devil's Island.
Were we drinking for that?
I think so. We did it for the movie out here. And we did it for Mr. Stitch.
Well, we did it for the movie out here because that's a movie that debuted famously in liquor stores. So
it was like produced by the Kokanee.
It was produced by Kokanee.
Yeah.
Yes, it was directed by Kokanee, and executive produced by Kokanee as well. Yes, Graeme. We don't normally start off the discussion about the movie talking about the screenwriters of the film, but in the case of Black Moon Rising, it is relevant because this film is partially from the mind of the master of horror himself, John Carpenter.
Yes,
and it's a rare treat for us here when we get to talk to somebody who's actually worked with the people that we enjoy talking about on the show. And not only have you been directed by John Carpenter in the Masters of Horror TV movie Pro-Life,
wow,
not
good.
only was your father in that movie, played by our favorite, the great Ron Perlman.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But
frequent mention on our show.
Frequent mention. But Ron Perlman cradled you in his arms as blood gushed from your throat in a violent and fantastical fashion.
Yes.
That's called the trifecta, my friend.
Wow.
That doesn't get any better than that.
That was so cool, and this was in 2007. And this is before I went to theater school. I didn't know what I was doing in terms of acting. I did the initial audition, and then I can't remember if it was an email or my agent at the time called me and said, you have a call back, and John Carpenter will be in the room. And I obviously became extremely nervous. I don't really remember the audition. I do remember walking in and seeing him there with his glasses on, and I was auditioning. There were 3 brothers to be cast, so 3 sons of Ron Perlman's. I was auditioning for the youngest one, so we did 2 scenes from that character, and then maybe a couple days later, I got a call saying that I was cast as the oldest brother, who I didn't audition for, and I was obviously ecstatic. And that scene that you were talking about, so that was a memory in my career that is very clear, because I got a prosthetic neck, and they put a tube underneath the prosthetic that ran down my back and down my leg, and it was connected to a fire extinguisher full of blood. And so you saw when it's gushing.
Yeah.
And I knew, and I was like, okay, so I knew it was going to be hard to do it in one take, but I was scared to fuck it up. Because there's so many things that were gonna have to be reset and closed and because there's blood everywhere. So they're doing the final touches on me, and they're doing my makeup, and they're checking my prosthetic neck, and then John Carpenter comes right here in my face, and he goes, "Okay, Graeme, I want you to go down, not too fast, but not too slow." And I was like, "Okay,
all right,
okay,
medium."
Yeah, so medium, perfect. So yeah, I was.
What we're aiming for here is a medium death.
Yeah. So the shot was I was all three of us, me and Ron Perlman and the other actor who played one of the brothers. I can't remember his name right now. And I was in the doorway, turning down the hall, and boom, I get shot. So I'm kind of practicing, and I got a shotgun in my hand as well. And, I'm 21 years old. I'm like, this is the fucking coolest thing ever. And so I'm going through the motions, and they're like, camera rolling. And they start, I say, please, can I just have two more minutes? I just need to practice. I didn't want to fuck it up. So, yeah, back and forth. Okay, I'm ready. And they call action. And, the Ron Perlman's firing guns, and there's squids going off. And I turn... And bang! I get shot, and I hit the wall, and I put my arm up, and I go down in a medium fashion.
Yeah,
as in the middle of it as you possibly
can.
can.
Exactly. And the pressure that I felt when I put my hand of the blood, was something I wasn't expecting, and the amount of blood was, it was fucking awesome, but I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, because that's really not something that you can rehearse. You
can
rehearse
exactly.
the fall, but you can't really, once the effect is on you, I imagine that, okay, well, we want to try and get this in as few takes as possible,
exactly.
So we're not going to practice with it. You're just going to have to roll with it and hope for the best.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can speak to this, but what I learned about pro-life is that it was a famously hurried shoot, to the point that the writers of it didn't actually get around to filming the ending that they had wrote, which is why when you watch that TV movie, it has somewhat of an abrupt ending. It kind of just stops.
Yeah.
So I heard that it was very much go on the set.
And yet he asked for a medium fall.
Yeah. Well, things were happening very quickly all the time. I remember we were doing a scene, and I had a bunch of us had some lines. And they just basically, right before we started, we were rehearsing the lines, we were ready to go, and they basically just cut the whole scene. And it was, kind of, it was a little touch and go for sure. And, Ron Perlman, that scene that you were talking about when he was, he's all up in my face, and he's, him and John Carpenter, they're smoking cigarettes in the studio.
What a face to have inches from yours.
And
I could get lost in that face.
Well, his hands were these, huge meat hands.
Yeah. It wasn't the Hellboy glove.
No. I wish. And he, I'm dying, I'm dead, and I'm his son, and he's saying these small little whispers to himself, just for his character, saying, "The son of a bitch. I'm gonna killed my son's son of a bitch," and his hands smell like smokes, and man, it was quite the time.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And then that just to finish off that little, when I go down and they call cut, and then I always remember John Carpenter coming around and giving me the double thumbs up and saying,
"Oh,
we got it," and I was like, "Yeah,
that's gotta be a great feeling."
Yeah, it was really cool, as a young actor, and then they had to set up for the next shot, but they wanted me in this exact same spot, so I just kind of sit there slumped in my own blood for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And there's a picture, because I brought a little, it was 2007, so I had a little Polaroid camera, and there's a picture of me, and I'm like, from with my thumbs up, and
that's a rite of passage.
It was really
someone's
cool.
In a horror movie, you got to get the candid photos of you hanging out with your guts hanging out.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll touch on this subject back and forth again, I'm sure, because we are somewhat talking about a John Carpenter movie today. But do you remember any? Are there any other Carpenter related stories you remember? What was he like to be directed by, of course, he's famously grumpy and irascible, and the reason he's sort of soft retired from directing is because he just basically just wants to sit at home and play Xbox all day now, and he you know, he's got his music career, and you know, Masters of Horror came at the end of a somewhat fallow period for him, because he took a long time off directing in between that and I think Ghosts of Mars. Was his last movie?
That was his last movie.
Before that, and then he took a good long while, and then he made the 2 Masters of Horror, and then he made he made a movie that barely exists called The Ward, and he just hasn't directed anything since. So what was it like being directed by John Carpenter in probably one of the last things he'll ever direct?
Yeah, I mean, it was intimidating, especially because, you know, Ron is such a kind of
such an icon.
Same kind of deal. He's, you know, his presence on, you know, it's a little intimidating. And I do remember John Carpenter had his own little area in the studio where he had this big chair, and it was like his little kind of like room, and he would sit there and just like smoke cigarettes. But, you know, it was really cool. Like, yeah, he was definitely intimidating, but I don't have any, you know, I only have.
I mean, I'm not digging for dirt here. I'm not asking you to spill the tea necessarily.
No, there is no tea. All I can say is, yeah, he was. I mean, it was, you know, quite a while ago. It was about 15 years ago. So
it's pretty cool that is an experience that no one can ever take away from you. You know,
100%.
no matter where your acting career takes you,
yeah,
you have that experience and you have that memory.
Yeah.
And you know, there are countless other people who never get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So like that is like, you know, count your blessings.
It's such a great feather to have in your cap so
Absolutely.
early on in your career.
Yeah, I don't think I really realized what was going on at the time, but then looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was so cool. And like, yeah, John Carpenter, he was super nice to me. You know, he was. I remember, I bought all like the DVDs when they came out, and there was like director commentary, and then when I'm dying, he goes, that young man, he died very well. And
that's awesome.
I was
that's
like,
on the
you
record.
know, like,
wow.
For me, I've
now.
been, you know, like that shot, and I'm stabbed, and I seem to like die, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Sean Bean. Have you ever seen that like 2-minute or like
the compilation?
Countless times.
You know, like
yeah.
that is something I want that when I
yeah.
when I'm older. I want like a death reel.
Yeah.
I think I die well.
That's where you gotta put that on like your demo reel. It's like, as endorsed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Get more Sean Bean for less green.
Yeah,
Sean Bean doesn't die anymore.
I'm the poor man's Sean Bean.
No, he dies in all like the super most famous things that he's done, like GoldenEye, Lord of the Rings.
I feel like
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I feel like once that compilation came out,
yeah.
I think he became like a little more self-aware about it. And I think now when he accepts projects, he's all like, "All right, I'm not dying anymore. I've done.
Mm-hmm.
I've died every conceivable
I've died
way.
enough, yeah.
People expect it.
Mm-hmm.
The swerve now is not died. The swerve is living."
Yeah. There'll be those
yeah.
fake outs where it looks like he's dead, and then he goes,
"Yeah, I'm not dead. I'm not dead." You guys are cinephiles. What's the movie in the death reel where he gets like a bunch of cows come off
I know
a cliff
that.
and they all fall
That's
off
from
a
the
cliff?
movie The Field with Richard Harris, which for the most part is this very somber drama about an irascible old Irish. That's twice that I've used irascible on this.
Wow. It was on your word of day calendar.
I heard it. Yeah, it was on my word of day
Wow.
calendar. Yeah, it's a pretty serious Oscar-nominated drama that just so happens to end with a ridiculous Sean Bean death, where he is chased off of a cliff by a herd of sheep.
That one sticks in my mind.
It's not any less hilarious within the context of the movie. It kind of sticks out a little bit. Yeah, but switching off momentarily for John Carpenter onto ostensibly the subject of this trilogy that we've cornered ourselves into. I feel really bad. I feel really bad for Linda Hamilton, because we've chosen her for this series, and I feel like we've barely talked about her, except in the most general of sense.
You know, it's too bad, because this trilogy was sandwiched between WrestleMania, so there were 3 solid episodes
where we didn't talk
where
about
we didn't
her.
mention
it
her
feels
at
like
all.
We've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
Like
the much anticipated conclusion of the Linda Hamilton trilogy.
Like Separate
so we can
Lives
move
feels
on
like
to
a year ago.
More interesting. Well, no, Linda Hamilton is.
Yes, let's
is
not say
interesting.
less interesting.
No, that's unfair to say, but it is interesting that, you know, for someone who I've always pegged as someone who just kind of avoided the spotlight, once we put the spotlight on her, not a whole lot to
Yeah.
discuss.
And there's other things that we haven't necessarily gone into. I've read like a few more interviews. Another big thing about Linda Hamilton that I haven't mentioned previous to this is that she is bipolar. And she struggled with that for a while. And she does a lot of advocacy and does a lot of charity work for people struggling with bipolarism. So obviously, she probably got to a point in Hollywood where she just maybe said to herself, I don't need to do this as much. I can focus on family. I can focus on other things. I'm sure being married to James Cameron would take a lot out of anybody. So, she had her career. She had her hits. And then
she's so badass in T2, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So
let's talk about...
But I mean, that's the thing we always bring up is like, but I loved her in Terminator 2.
But she's so good in Terminator 2. And, there's a case to be made for she should have been nominated for an Oscar for that, because Terminator 2 was one of the hugest movies of, I believe it was the number one movie of 1991. Beauty and the Beast came out that year, so I'm not certain, but it's definitely within the top three. Yeah. And there's examples of it happening before. Sigourney Weaver was nominated for Aliens for Best Actress, so who's to say...
Wait, for Aliens or Alien?
Aliens.
The second one?
The second
She
one.
was nominated for...
That was her first Oscar nomination.
I didn't know that. That's
Aliens.
one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think of other people have been nominated for action things, but I can't think of anything right now. Action, sci-fi. Yeah, but she's so good in Terminator 2. And I didn't watch it all the way through, but I put it on Netflix and I watched about 20 minutes here or there of Dark Fate, the most recent Terminator.
Where they brought her back.
That they brought her back.
I haven't seen that one.
It's not a good movie, but you know what? She's really killing it. She is taking the opportunity to come back to Sarah Connor and say, all right, this is my role. I rarely act these days, and when I do, it's mostly in direct-to-DVD or streaming stuff that no one has ever seen. But someone is giving me the opportunity to be the lead of a big action movie. You look at the publicity for that movie, she is the biggest face on the poster. She's bigger than Arnie. That movie was sold on the fact that we got Hamilton back. She's back, baby.
Yeah. And it's funny because in as much as we all loved her in her progression from Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, that really is Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie. I think you described her at one point as an unsung 80s icon. And compared to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sigourney Weaver, possibly not. But most of the movies that we've covered her, she's almost like a supporting character, or she's overshadowed by other people in her movie.
She plays a lot of wives.
A lot of wives, a lot of moms. But yeah, when given an opportunity like that, she's not a bad actress by any stretch of the imagination. I just think there wasn't a whole lot of roles available for her.
She's been romantically partnered with Jim Belushi on more than one occasion. That kind of says everything right there. Yeah, I don't know. Outside of Terminator, do you have any passing thoughts on Linda Hamilton? Have you seen a Linda Hamilton movie that's not Terminator related?
I mean...
Exactly.
Yeah. Black Moon Rising.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah. What's that about?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to find out what that's about.
Honestly, I can't think of another movie other than that I have seen her in. But I enjoy her. I mean, the movie, we'll get on to the movie, but just her as in T2 as a child, I absolutely loved that movie, and she was so badass. When she's breaking out of the mental hospital.
There are so many scenes.
And then when she sees the Terminator and the slow motion, and she's kind of scrambling back.
Mm-hmm. It's such a great acting performance.
It's
too,
great.
Because, it's just it's nothing but steely resolve.
Yeah.
And the movie, I gotta go back and watch it again, but I feel like it's
Please do. It holds up.
It's maybe 30 to 40 minutes before Sarah Connor and the Terminator meet up again. Everything up to that is just build up.
Yeah,
and there are so many scenes that cut back to her in the mental institution.
Yeah.
And it's her just getting ripped and just dealing with shitty people, and she's just this steely badass that you don't want to fuck with. And the second she lays eyes on Arnold again, it all just melts and crumbles, and it's just
a cool transformation.
It really is.
And then later on, when she's doing that assault on Miles Dyson's house, and you're genuinely concerned for that family because this woman is unstoppable, badass too. She really is the secondary action lead in that movie. No, she's
That's when
great in that movie, and it's great in like to contrast it with how she is in Terminator 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no, she's fantastic.
Her character arc is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is like probably the 5th time that we've talked about Terminator 2 this
It's
year.
really
compared
Oh.
like
I mean, like
between like the
back.
Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yeah.
series and the Linda
Yeah.
Hamilton one. Like we're big Terminator 2 stands here on
Yeah.
Nothing Movies.
Well, yeah, we'll get away from the Terminator franchise. We won't be doing
When we
that.
talk about the movies of Robert Patrick.
I was gonna say we won't be doing the Edward Furlong trilogy anytime soon. That one,
He's
that's
interesting.
depressing.
Yeah.
He's interesting.
I mean, yeah, that's a cool career to talk about, just in the sense that like he got like the big bump from Terminator 2,
Yeah.
and then after that came out, everyone's all like, well, this guy's clearly a thing. Like, we're
Yeah.
going to make this guy a thing. And then he was briefly for a little while.
American History X.
That was
Yeah.
kind of like the end for him.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the last sort of moment that he was above the title, and then he kind of got into his personal troubles. And then by the time they came around to Terminator 3, it was just like, we can't insure Edward Furlong for
What
this
always
movie.
happens to these young actors, man.
Oh, man. Yeah.
They
It's-
can't all be
you-
cradled by Ron Perlman as they're bleeding out.
I know. Look at me now, eh?
Yeah.
Well, Black Moon Rising.
Yeah.
So speaking about like the context of this is a somewhat important movie for Linda Hamilton's career, because it's really the first big movie that she's in following the Terminator, the first one, and before that,
This was the follow-up?
more or less, there's
Whoa.
another sort of like nothing movie. I think we talked about this on the first Linda Hamilton episode when we ran down her filmography. But yeah, this was the immediate big screen follow-up to the Terminator. It was like partnering her with another up-and-coming character actor, Tommy Lee Jones, which is a trip to... It's always a trip to see young Tommy Lee Jones.
I know, but he's
in
not
anything.
even like, he's got gray hair in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's just younger.
Like, Tommy Lee Jones was never a young man.
Yeah, it's like, was he ever young?
How old do you think he is in this movie?
44?
He's 39.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 10 years older than Linda Hamilton is.
Wow.
But like
He's like 3 years older than me
he's
currently.
3 years older than me, but he is already starting to crag. Like there's some
And a crank.
the veneer is
He looks
full.
weathered.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah,
weathered.
there's like 75% of his face that looks good, and then there's one chunk that is very. That's where the sun hits him.
Yeah.
That's where it's starting to kind of like fall. You know what I'm talking about? He kind of has like
the
one spot
Two-Face
on
that
his
Jerry
face.
dated in Seinfeld?
Oh man.
So attractive one day, not attractive the next.
Have you come across this?
Yes, I am familiar with this syndrome. She's a Two-Face.
Like the Batman villain?
If that helps you.
She's a Two-Face.
Yeah.
I mean,
in
hey,
the
and Tommy Lee
tunnel.
Jones play Two-Face.
Hey,
So there we go.
Oh,
There you go.
wow.
I rewatched that earlier this week. You've both heard of like the famous story of how before they started filming that, Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey met at a restaurant, and
I can't sanction your buffoonery.
I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to keep that sentence in context when you rewatch Batman Forever, a movie that I have fully watched 38 times. That was just like the movie I had on VHS as a kid. That was just my movie that I just kept watching it. Watching it like
Ice
today.
to see you.
Oh, that's
Batman and Robin.
That's the next
That's
one.
Schwarzenegger.
Again. Schwarzenegger.
Tommy Lee Jones's performance in Batman Forever is unforgivable. It is as much as he could not sanction Jim Carrey's buffoonery, his performance is a million times worse
Yeah, it's
than
like
what Jim
so
Carrey
over
is
the
doing.
top.
Like there's like 5 minutes near the end of that movie where he just makes noises. Like the camera's on him, he's just going like nah, like that's just it. He's not saying words.
Yeah.
He's just mimicking what Carrey's doing, and he's doing it badly. And I loved that movie. I dressed up as Two-Face for Halloween. I got my mom.
That's a badass suit, though.
It's like it's
Well,
not.
half
It's
of
like
the-
it's like a purple
the one half is
zebra
good.
fucking like outfit.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
the
sense.
red tiger stripes, I love that.
Why
look.
is his face purple? That's never made any sense.
Whatever.
He's so terrible in
Whatever.
this. In this, he's okay. But we'll get into the plot of Black Moon Rising. I'll do a little bit of context. The movie was directed by Harley Cokeless. Although in the opening credits to the movie, they've dropped the E from his last name.
So
I
it went
noticed.
cockless?
So he's cockless. So sometimes he wants
Nice.
he wants a little less coke. Sometimes he wants a little less cock. And hey, I think we've all been there.
We've all been
Right, we've all lived through the 90s. We were children. I don't
Yeah,
know why
what
I
are you
made that
talking
reference.
about? Whoa, dude.
Soda Pop. That's what I was talking. Soda Pop and Roosters is what I was talking
Gotcha.
about. But he's a director who has directed a bunch of movies that don't exist. He got his start as a second unit director on a little independent movie I'm seeing here called The Empire Strikes Back?
Oh,
Never heard
you
of
know
it.
what? I've been rewatching the original trilogy
some sort of
lately, so that is-
propaganda movie, I think. Yeah.
That is fresh in my mind. I just watched that like 2 nights ago.
Still good?
Yeah.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all the review we need.
Okay.
Star Wars, still good.
Hey, here's a hot take. Good movie. The movie he directed immediately before Black Moon Rising was called Warlords of the 21st Century, except on this poster where it is called Battle Truck.
Oh, nice.
No notes.
No, I will not be taking
Battle
any
truck.
notes on this.
A+, right there. The movie he made immediately following Black Moon Rising was a Burt Reynolds movie called Malone. Ex-cop, ex-CIA,
What?
explosive?
They spared no expense making that poster.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a very minimalist poster there. I'm gonna make a gentleman's bet with you, Jameson. I don't know where one can stream Malone, but I will bet you 10 Canadian dollars CAD that at some point in time in Malone, someone looks at Burt Reynolds and says, "Damn it, Malone!"
Yeah, sure.
That's good money. Yeah. All right, cool. And then, yeah, and then
I'm
that's
not
how
going
they-
to take the under on that. Like,
Yeah, I don't- yeah.
And then he directed some TV. He directed some episodes of Xena Warrior Princess and Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, and then he stopped making movies, and that's his career. And of course, John Carpenter wrote the screenplay for this. This was a screenplay that he wrote around the same time as Escape from New York, and he just kind of sat on it and let someone else go with it.
Well, he just handed it off to the guy who directed Malone. Like, what?
Well, he hadn't directed Malone yet,
Yeah, okay,
Jameson.
fine,
That's
fine.
the important context here.
I'll
See,
be honest, Kaz. I tune you out most of the time.
we hadn't quite yet met Malone. As a society, we had not yet met Malone.
Gotcha.
There's pre-Malone and then there's
post-Malone.
Whoa!
Okay.
Oh my God!
And on that note, we should probably take a
Whoa.
break.
How much do you want to believe that I didn't plan that?
Whoa.
Great minds thinking alike.
My brain, dude. This is too
Oh my
much.
God.
Wow.
All right, well,
Well, we're ahead.
I'm not.
Quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
quick,
this is it. Thank you for tuning in.
Join
All right,
us next
well-
time when we discuss Black Moon Rising.
Yeah.
This is a two-parter,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, we'll take a break, and that's obviously a good place to take a break. We'll take a break, we'll listen to this charity spot, and we'll come back. We will dive into the plot of Black Moon Rising, such as it is.
The U.S. Supreme Court's recent reversal of Roe v. Wade, the once guaranteed right to an abortion, is in jeopardy for millions of Americans. Dozens of states stand at the ready to pass outrageously restrictive anti-abortion laws, with a threat to the legal rights to same-sex marriage, access to contraceptives, and even a right to privacy expected to follow. But for today's charity spot, I want to focus on abortion, not only as the most pressing issue at the moment, but also due to the life-altering and potentially life-threatening consequences of an inability to get one. The Center for Reproductive Rights uses the power of law to advance reproductive rights as a fundamental human right around the world. It is the only global legal advocacy organization dedicated to advancing reproductive rights. They protect and advance women's reproductive health, self-determination, and dignity as basic human rights, and work with local partners to strengthen reproductive health laws and policies in Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the United States. To learn more about this organization, how you can assist them, or to make a donation, visit their website at reproductivehealthrights.org. And though still legal in my home country, I'd also like to spotlight the National Abortion Federation, which promotes, enhances, and ensures access to quality abortion care across Canada. Visit nafcanada.org to learn more. And once again, those websites are reproductiverights.org and nafcanada.org.
And we're back!
We are back.
So, Black Moon Rising!
Yeah, I feel like I could charitably rant about this movie for an hour, and you guys would have to say nothing.
Great, that's gonna be an
Yeah.
easy recording for me. because I worked a full day and I am tired.
Oh,
I definitely have some opinions. I will say this movie kind of boring.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yes. With a premise like this, where it's dueling thieves going after the same supercar, yes, it's incredibly fucking boring.
Surprisingly boring based on that premise alone. There's definitely something you can work with.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, this is like the equivalent of trying to like sneak into your house without waking up your parents. This movie is a masterclass in cutting tension. Did you guys notice this? Like,
There's a lot of dialogue-less scenes where
yes.
characters are just like looking at stuff.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of scenes of Tommy Lee Jones casing a building, and it's just him going to like every floor and like looking at like security cameras and,
Yeah.
and having the same blank expression on his face the entire time.
There are like sparse, empty rooms with no extras in it. Very visually uninteresting backgrounds. There's a part where he's staking out Linda Hamilton's place, and we see her red box of an apartment building that has no windows on it, no interesting set dressing.
I'm glad.
Like the exterior shot of her apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why did you pick that?
I'm glad you brought this up, James. Didn't it remind you of the apartment she had in Separate Lives? This is like 2 movies in a row where Linda Hamilton has had an address-less apartment that just has like this side door or whatever. It's just like it's like my apartment. My apartment's like hard to find because it's in like a basement, and like whenever I order food, it's always a hassle. I always have to come out and get like whenever she orders a pizza, she has to like wait outside of her apartment, otherwise no one knows that it's there. Yeah. Inside, nice apartment.
Well, I mean, that's the fucking other
classic
thing.
80s apartment.
Just figure, okay, this is the building that her apartment is in. No, she owns that entire fucking building. She owns a warehouse to herself to keep all of her shit, including all her fucking mannequin heads and a motorcycle.
With all the shitty wigs.
Yeah, all the shitty wigs on it,
Oh man, the wigs in this movie. Like Linda Hamilton is wearing like a different wig in every scene, and I'm here for it. It's great.
Yeah.
I thought like was her first scene. She's got like this giant brunette bouffant going on. I'm all like, is that Linda Hamilton's hair for the entire movie?
Yeah, I was like, what is
not
happening?
so much, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Do you guys know who the artist Patrick Nagel is?
No.
Okay. Patrick Nagel, like, you probably don't know the name, but you've definitely seen his stuff. He did all those classic 80s pop art depictions of women with pitch black short hair, bright white skin, and like ruby red lips and everything.
The album cover for Rio?
Something, yeah.
Okay.
I thought, like, is that the look that she's going for in this movie? Like, one of those, like, stylistic, like, super 80s.
I mean, it was right in the middle of the 80s. You can't get more 80s than 1986, man.
Yeah,
that is
year.
right in the midst of it. Yeah.
Birth year for yours truly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that just ties into me thinking that this was going to be a super stylized kind of movie. And outside of maybe some shots where they're driving around at the neon lit night, there's really no style or substance to this movie.
Yeah, like when it starts, the first scene where Tommy Lee Jones going into a convenience store and a guy comes in and he's trying to rob him.
Yeah.
And he kind of just talks him down and says, "Oh, look at that camera, it's got you there." And then he turns his head and goes, "Oh, yeah, got the profile too."
Mm-hmm.
And then the robber leaves. The next scene, he goes and he steals that cassette.
Yeah.
And he's not wearing a mask. He's not wearing any gloves.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is the type of movie. Okay.
Well, like, that's such a classic 80s scene where, like, someone is holding up a convenience store and there's our hero and he says, like, "Don't do it, son. You know, like, you have one chance to back away while you still can." And you just imagine that he's going to, like, uppercut the guy or, like, disarm him or something.
Yeah.
No, he just calmly talks the guy down.
Because you don't have a read on Tommy Lee Jones, Quint, in this moment, because you don't necessarily know that he's like a master thief at this point. You don't know what he's going to do.
He's an okay thief.
He's kind of not great.
Very medium.
Like,
very medium.
He'll get the job done, but he won't do it with any kind of, like, panache or flourish or anything.
And he'll wear his leather jacket the whole time.
Yeah, no mask. He'll have, like, his dumb gadgets that have, like, Christmas lights and a whisk on it.
Oh yeah, how did he got a pin code from a thing just by putting his little gadget on? I love those 80s gadgets.
Oh yeah, it's great, and that's kind of what I hoped, like, for cool, like, code breaker gadgets in this, like, this is going to be a super stylized 80s movie. No, No, it's not. So what he is he's like a freelance thief that the FBI outsources to go after a casino that I guess is doing some money laundering, and he breaks into their accounting office after dark to steal a single cassette tape.
And I'm already asleep.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
like,
wait, I still don't even know what... I just watched the movie, and I don't even know what was on that cassette.
it was the tax info for the casino.
So exciting.
Which is, yeah, exactly. Like, that's the MacGuffin
Mhm.
of this movie. I mean, the MacGuffin is also like a future car that runs on water,
Yeah.
but
I'm
like,
surprised this movie got made, to be honest.
I'm surprised it's as boring as it is.
I can't believe they were like, you know what, this, let's greenlight this. Let's greenlight this script.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, there's a reason why John Carpenter did not direct this movie. This was like like an idea that he had about like a future car, and then he wrote, I guess, most of it because he shares screenplay credit with two other writers, but he does have the story.
Yeah,
credit.
it's his story, but yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely came up with like the framework for this movie. But yeah, I guess he just like sold this, took his money, and then according to the trivia on IMDb, John Carpenter has never seen this movie, and he is smarter than all of us.
Wow.
So what the fuck was the point, John?
Money.
You make this movie, you're not even gonna bother watching it yourself.
He was busy. He was in 1986, the same year Big Trouble in Little China came out. So he
time better spent,
he had
honestly.
better things on his mind.
Mhm.
Yeah, this movie was also released in January, and boy, does it feel like a January movie. Like there's like Oscar bait, like filling the theater, like 1985 Color Purple is probably still in theaters, and then the distributor is just all like, just gonna put Black Moon Rising right here, and then it proceeded to be seen by no one and remembered by even less.
One thing that I just want to like get this out there before we move on, like following like the beats of the plot. He is chased out of the accounting building by, I guess, a former contemporary of his named Marvin.
Oh, right, and they have Uzis.
They have Uzis, yeah, and
Marvin Ringer.
Marvin Ringer.
Which made me laugh because he's sort of like set up to be TLJ's like rival in this or whatever. Like if Quint is like the number one thief, Ringer is like the second one, which is just funny because it's Brandon the Ringer. Yeah.
He's like a consulting security guy who's working for the casino, and he's going after Tommy Lee Jones to get back that tape. Whatever the fuck's on it.
Did you notice the security guards in this scene are like weirdly nicely dressed?
They're like the executives.
They all have like beige suits on or whatever. I was all like, what's going on with these security guards?
I mean, that's kind of like a staple of the 80s. Like any kind of goon is going to be like nicely dressed with their ties and wearing their sunglasses indoors.
So this movie has an amazing supporting cast. There's just like winner upon winner upon winner here. Like it's just like incredible. So Ringer is played by a gentleman named Lee Ving. Surprisingly, not his actual name.
Okay.
That is a stage name. He is the lead singer for a punk band called Fear, which is pretty badass.
Huh.
But I know him. Speaking earlier about movies that I've definitely seen over 30 times, I know him because he is Mr. Body in Clue.
Oh.
He is the guy that gets murdered and sets off the events in that film. So Lee Ving is a name that has stuck in my head for a while. Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay, great. Is that the extent of the amazing cast, or you want to bring them up as they...
I'm going to bring them up as they come along, because there's so many. I'm not going to like list them all now.
Okay, so Tommy Lee Jones gets away from Mr. Leaving, Mr. Body, and he makes his escape. We then cut to like the badlands of the California deserts, where these former NASA scientists are test driving this super fast rocket car called the Black Moon, which is this sleek, crotch height little speedster that runs on tap water and it can reach speeds of up to like 400 miles per hour.
It runs on the hydrogen from water. There's like they say that there's like some sort of like component within it that like separates the hydrogen from the oxygen, but all you need is tap water. But it's more fun to say it runs on tap water.
Sure.
Basically.
What do you guys think of this car compared to like other famous movie cars?
What, like Herbie the Love Bug, or like
the Batmobile, or the Echo One, or like
the DeLorean?
It's worse.
Yeah,
it's worse.
Not the best.
No. It would help if it were in the movie. more than it is.
Black Moon parking.
Yeah, if they used the cool future car for more than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of trivia I have here is that the stunt driver of the car basically couldn't see anything.
Oh, I can believe it.
Yeah, because the seat was like
Like a deck chair.
it's like a semi-recumbent thing. So he was like kind of backwards, and also the windshield was
Perfectly slicked back.
yeah,
and
it was like a
sloped and-
material that like you can't see through plexiglass.
Plexiglass,
So yeah,
yeah.
he was every time he was driving around, he was completely blind. He
I have to
couldn't
imagine
see anything.
Your arms have to be
Yeah.
fully extended to like hold the steering wheel and everything. You're tilted back like you're leaning, like you're at the planetarium looking up. It was a ridiculous looking car.
Interesting design.
I think it would make a really cool poster, or the concept art of it looked pretty neat. But in execution, it just looks bad.
I mean, it's goofy. It's like it's like the Homer. You know, it's what the '80s thought looked cool.
It's
you
like
know,
it's
This
the Homer,
is-
Homer without the bubbles.
yeah.
Yeah, this is from the future. You know, like this is where like when movies from the 80s or shows like they think what the future looks like.
Mhm.
Like that's what this is what futuristic cars will look like. No, way off.
Way off. Thank you, 1980s.
Yeah.
And so, like, this car that probably cost, like, millions upon millions of dollars to build, they want to show it off to, like, some investors at a restaurant, so they transport it across town in a flatbed hitch trailer with a tarp over it.
So this trio of NASA scientists is led by Earl, who's played by Richard Jekyll, who is one of the Dirty Dozen. Then there is Billy, who's sort of like the pilot of it, who's played by Dan Shore, who is known for playing another famous Billy. He played Billy the Kid in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh.
And then there's the character of Tyke. Who's played by the genuinely great William Sanderson from Deadwood and Blade Runner and other great things.
He's got...
We gotta talk about Tyke, unfortunately. So Tyke is he's a deaf gentleman. He does not speak. He cannot hear, and this is basically. For deaf people, this is basically blackface. Because he's not doing ASL, he's just waving his hands around.
Oh, and he gets hit by the car.
Yeah.
Truly, why is this character here?
It took me a long time for me to clue in that he was deaf. Because
Yeah,
he doesn't have any lines. He's just sort of like the third scientist. But then there's a part where, like later on in the movie, where the scientists meet up with Tommy Lee Jones to get the car back, and Tyke just waits downstairs with a beer, and I'm just like, who is this alcoholic who's
he's just
hanging out
along
with these
for the
former
ride.
NASA scientists? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't give him enough to do to justify the idea that he's a deaf mute.
Mm-hmm.
And all it ever leads to is a scene where later on these three gentlemen are sneaking around the villain's hideout or whatever, and Tyke can't hear the semi truck behind him, and the poor guy gets flattened like a pancake.
No. There's the car. There's two cars coming from opposite directions.
Yeah, he gets hit by one car and then gets flattened by a truck.
And then the truck scoops him up.
That's right.
Yeah.
His body's never recovered. Poor Tyke's body is never recovered.
Never found.
It gets dumped into some concrete or whatever.
He gets launched 10 feet into the air, and then he just gets scooped up, never to be seen again.
So many random bodies in this movie, and not a single policeman to be found like investigating this crime. The body count is just rising through the top here.
So even though Tommy Lee Jones seems to have gotten like a comfortable lead ahead of Marvin and the other people pursuing him, I guess he needs to ditch his car.
Right, because it's too conspicuous because they've shot out the windows.
The Jeep Cherokee.
I have to imagine he could still like make it to the city and then just like disappear into the crowd.
Well, I thought his car broke down because he's trying to hitch a ride. He's trying to hitch a ride with like the three NASA guys, and then later he tries to hitch a ride with like a hot blonde in a convertible or whatever. And I assumed that was because his car broke down. But then Ringer shows back up. And he gets back into his car and he drives away, and it's all like, oh, so you didn't have to. I mean, like, what happened here? Yeah.
Well, here's what's really fucked about that. So he decides that he's going to stash the cassette tape that he stole from the casino in the license plate bag.
In the most important plot point that this movie has. It's
tucks
vital that you know that he does it. Otherwise, nothing makes sense.
So he hides the tape in the supercar, even though I'm pretty sure he could have just kept driving. and held onto the tape. But, he stashes it into the car for seemingly no reason. And then he decides, okay, well, I'm just going to find this car later and collect the tape. And then Marvin shows up, and Tommy Lee Jones, runs away, and there's a chase that you think is going to be a very exciting car chase.
There's not a chase. I'll correct you here. There's not a chase. Yeah. He gets into his car, he goes away, Marvin and his goons follow after him.
Cut to black.
Hard cut to Tommy Lee Jones in a bar. And we're just going I guess he got away from them. I guess that scene was not interesting.
Yeah.
Who wants a car chase in this movie about a futuristic techno car?
I think we're going to cut that.
We don't need all that action. It's important we
got
get
this
back.
really important bar shot to get to.
We really got to get back to him surveying the crime scene or whatever, yeah.
And so his FBI handlers meet up with him at this dive bar, and says, where's the tape? He's like, you'll have it later. Had he not stashed the fucking tape on the car, he could have just handed it to the FBI. He seems to have gotten away from Marvin, scot-free with no problems.
Yeah.
You know how he could have gotten, even further away from Marvin if he didn't stop at the damn gas station for 12 hours or whatever. Why did he stop?
His problems would have been solved if he had just kept driving and held on to that tape.
It's classic Quint, He's a good thief, but man,
he's an okay thief.
He's very medium.
Thief, okay fisherman, terrible driver.
So he does manage to track down the car at this restaurant where the NASA scientists are trying to sell the car to some Italian guy.
Yeah, it's it was a restaurant, or it was
it was like a supper club.
It was like a supper club, but there were all of these fancy cars outside, because I guess it's all of the 1% go to this supper club.
Oh, because he mentioned Tommy Lee Jones talking to the pilot guy at the gas station, and he's like, well, where are you going? And I can't remember the name of the bar. Betsy. And he goes, oh, too rich for my blood.
With a name like Betsy.
Yeah, Betsy in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a real place. I don't know.
No, maybe.
That could be true. That could be an actual place, but could be bullshit. Could be Hollywood magic. But he finds out that that's where the future car is going, so that's where the tape that he needs to pass over to the FBI or CIA. Who are
FBI.
they? I don't know. And so,
he finds the car. He tries to get it out of the license plate cover of the car, but he can't open it. So he decides, fuck it, I'm going to the bar.
He puts his head through the sunroof.
Yeah.
And then he comes
Which
in,
is
he's like,
the only way to get into the supercar, I might add.
He's like, oh, nice car.
Keep an eye on this.
Yeah, keep an eye on it, yeah.
I really want to do a Tommy Lee Jones impression, but it's not good enough, and it just sounds like Barack Obama, and that's not good.
How do you make that leap?
Tommy Lee Jones, he's like a good old boy, and but not quite.
I need a line from The Fugitive to repeat for me to do an impression.
I gotta check every, doghouse, cat house, outhouse, down here, going on here.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah. I mean, the most recent, it is. It's very Obama-ish. I know. I'm trying not to. I mean, the most recent Tommy Lee Jones movie I watched other than this one was Batman Forever. So, and that is not a good litmus test of what that guy sounds like.
There's kind of a southern drawl to it as well.
There's a little bit. He kind of goes up. His voice kind of goes up.
Yeah.
He always acts like he's asking a question.
Yeah.
So
his inflections.
Whereabouts are they? Or something like that. I don't know. I truly don't know.
I love it.
All I can hear is Obama. I apologize.
I
apologize for everything. At this point in the movie is when Linda Hamilton and her amazing wigs.
Sweet Lady H.
How do we not call her that every episode?
I thought of that on the drive over here, I'll be honest.
Yes. She plays Nina, a mysterious woman who at first we think is she like an undercover cop? Because she's casing this joint. She's talking to somebody on a radio, and we don't quite know what she's up to.
So my initial thought with this is because she, spoiler alert, she's part of a team that steals cars, and they're going to steal every car in this lot. She picks out the supercar for herself, and she knows how to drive it. So my initial thought...
But everyone knows how to drive. This is the easiest experimental prototype to steal.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. No, there should be some sort of security
everyone
system.
seems to know how to drive this car and press all the buttons in the right order.
Yeah, green go, red stop.
She jumps into it, and she it looks like she had been reading the manual earlier that day. She knows exactly what to do.
Well, my thought initially was that she must have been part of the team that built this car, because otherwise,
would
how,
think that,
how
but
would
nope.
she know to single it out? How would she know how to get in? How would she know how to drive it? Whatever.
None of those questions are
Because we
answered.
gotta go. Because we gotta keep this plot rolling. We can't spend too much time thinking about how things work.
And just do it.
Yeah, yeah, and so I mean, like, there's a little bit of like build up to this. Like, she bumps into Tommy Lee Jones, and then later on she sees Quint, at the bar when this total creeper tries to
what's with that
pick her
guy?
Yeah, like this Kevin
see-
Pollak-looking
I
motherfucker.
can see action in your eyes. How about I take you back to your place and fuck your brains out? That's what he says.
Yeah.
And then she leaves.
So what do you like? Tell me. I bet when you walked in here you thought, I wouldn't mind meeting someone new and interesting tonight.
I never mind meeting someone new and interesting.
Do you live around here?
Why?
What would you say if I told you that I'd like to take you home and fuck your brains out?
I'd say you're in for a long and lonely night.
Well, you can't blame me for trying, huh?
And then he's like, women are so neurotic.
They don't know
and
what
it's
they
like,
want
what
either.
are you talking
And I
about?
guess like the joke is that like another woman comes by
And he
immediately
tries
after.
the same line.
like verbatim.
They're all so neurotic they don't even know what they want anymore. Hello. I bet when you walked in here you thought, I wouldn't mind meeting someone new, interesting tonight.
Like, he does like the exact
Yeah.
same thing, and Tommy Lee Jones is just sitting there rolling his eyes. And like, you think, because there's the scene earlier with like the kid in the convenience store, so you think like, I don't know, he's gonna do so, like he's gonna show up this guy, he's gonna like embarrass him in some way, but no, it's just in the movie for no reason.
Yeah.
It's just there to fill time. It's like, oh, there's one scummy guy at the bar. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess that. Well, I mean, that guy probably got a good paycheck. That's going on his reel.
Oh, yeah.
So you know, not too bad. I mean,
yeah,
that's,
I was in a scene with Tommy Lee Jones and Linda Hamilton.
We talk
Yeah,
about-
didn't interact with them. We had no.
we
dialogue
did a
exchange.
scene together.
we talk about this.
I was in a movie with both Linda Hamilton
Yeah.
and Tommy Lee Jones
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yep.
We talk about this often on the podcast, but this is the role that I would play in this movie. I would be scummy, creepy guy at the bar, and I would take it. I would take that paycheck. I would make a meal out of it. Yeah. So Linda Hamilton and her team of carjackers show up, and they steal all the cars, and
There's a chase.
and they lock everyone inside so no one can get out, but Quint breaks a window. The weird little bit of casting trivia that I just want to say here. There's a waiter who looks out the window and then turns around and says, "They're stealing all the cars."
Yeah.
That actor is a famed voice actor, Townsend Coleman, the original voice of Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh.
I recognized his name in the credits.
Really?
I'm all like, oh, I gotta look out for a waiter. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Wow. He's also the voice of the Tick,
Okay.
which makes a lot of sense with that deleted scene where a lady asks him for some cutlery and he goes, "Spoon!"
Oh.
They can't all be winners, Graham.
I know.
You lose 99% of the shots that you don't take.
Hey, man, I appreciate the effort.
I thought of
all
that
the
joke
time.
on the way over.
All right.
Anyway, so yes, there's a chase.
I like your Post Malone one better.
because that one wasn't
I
flat.
know,
That
I
was
know.
off the cusp.
That's not going to get topped. That's probably going to have
Yeah.
to sustain us for the next, 8 months.
Every
Yeah,
once in a
you
while
guys
on
gonna
this
live
show,
off that.
I say something and I'm all
Yeah.
like, I can't believe
Wow.
I was
Is this
very,
the same,
I was
the same guy I've been doing a show
very
with for 4
impressed
years?
by that joke.
So Tommy Lee Jones gives chase.
In like the only genuine chase scene in the movie,
Yeah, and it's-
about a car.
and
It's actually quite long. The
it's
chase
quite
scene.
long, and it's okay.
It's okay.
It's not bad.
There's some good camera work in it, and then there's some bad camera work in it. It's fine.
Well, they're doing that thing where like the camera is on like a dolly or it's like on the front of a car and it's driving on the sidewalk and people are jumping out of the way, but it's getting too close.
Mhm.
Like it's like following the people on the
Yeah, I
camera.
was
and they're
like,
Yeah.
that, those people are gonna get hit.
that guy got hit. That one guy definitely got
There
hit.
was
He got
one
too
guy
close,
who
yeah.
looked like he was jumping in the path.
Yeah.
Of the car.
It's maybe the best that they could do in 1986. You
Yeah.
know, sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best that you can hope from the director of Battle Truck,
Mhm.
which true story is a title that you can only yell. So Linda Hamilton kind of gets away. She goes into like this big building and she disappears behind a false wall.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones is caught on camera looking perturbed.
Snooping
and
Oh,
looking
yeah,
around.
yeah. Looking right into the camera,
yeah.
the security camera.
And this is where we meet the film's villain, Ryland, played by the amazing Robert Vaughn. I love Robert
Yeah, he's
Vaughn.
great.
He's great. He's just like a great, like scumbag in like whatever. You know, Robert Vaughn, of course, known for The Magnificent Seven and Bullet, and of course Basketball. You know, all the classics.
Yeah. He's not great in this movie.
I think he's doing something. It's just he's a welcoming presence. You know, I mean, yeah, he's okay. Everyone is okay.
Okay, so
in this.
what he does is, I don't know what the front is of his
Oh,
company.
I truly have no idea what he does.
They steal
he's
cars?
the villain of the movie. is what he is.
What does he do?
His-
What's going on in those buildings?
So his crew, like he runs like this chop shop in the basement of his massive corporate towers.
Yeah, but he's also like a business mag. He's
Yeah.
also like a Donald Trump figure or something.
So the chop shop people like resell the cars to other rich people, even though I'm sure the rich people could buy their own fucking cars.
It's like a stolen car ring. But it's
Yeah.
like the classiest stolen car ring you've ever seen with all of like this like mid-80s technology.
The
Best of the best.
And and he's super evil, and he's like, you know, today Los Angeles, tomorrow the world, kind of horse shit. But even though it's not a
Something
line,
like that,
it's all very
Yeah.
vague.
So yeah, we see him doing business with like I guess like another crime boss. And this guy's not happy that some of the cars are like damaged or whatever. And Robert, yeah.
Well,
Right.
he mentions one other guy, like
Molina.
Oh,
Molina is a big Chico.
Yeah.
There's a line that I wrote down.
That guy, whoever played that guy who he's going to do a deal with, and then he gets strangled.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best actor in the movie.
And he's the only actor whose name I did not write down.
Oh
Of
my!
course.
So props to that guy.
He was good. There was some real emotion there when he
Yeah.
found out that he was talking with Molino.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I believe this guy.
Are you saying I would lie to you?
I was talking with Molina.
Molina, no. No me compares con ese hombre. Molina is a pig, chico. A man doesn't have a shred of honor.
He thinks you might have difficulties in other areas.
My business is of no concern to you.
We have agreements I expect you to live up to. Don't come here with spurious excuses about damaged cars.
You and Molina, you deserve each other.
I wish we could find out why he didn't want to do business with Molina. We never meet this Molina character.
Molina's name is referenced quite a bit, and then Molina never shows up. You assume that Molina will be factored into like the
third
finale,
act.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he's just some nameless, faceless guy. Yeah. So this guy, whoever he is, he gets garroted in an elevator in a very telegraphed death. Look, if you're going to do business with like a crime lord or whatever, don't mouth off to the crime lord in his own building, and then don't turn around to his thug and be like, "Can you believe this guy?"
Anyways, let's ride an elevator together.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
guy's standing really close to me. I'm going to think nothing of it.
So this thug, whose name, of course, is Louise, and of course they cast the perfect actor to play a character named Louise. This actor is actually Nick Cassavetes, who's the son of Jenna Rollins and John Cassavetes, who has a good career as an actor playing psychos and thugs. He's in a movie that I have referenced on this show a couple of times. He's the villain in The Wraith, where he plays like this insane madman. He's also Nicolas Cage's buddy in Face Off. He's the guy who says, "No more drugs for this man." And then he later went on to become a director, and of course, based on that acting career, naturally directed The Notebook.
What?
Yeah, this guy, this thug has had like
That
a really,
guy directed The Notebook?
He's had like a really interesting career.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I think maybe he has 2 lines in the movie, and he just scowls for like the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But
Well, he's the muscle.
he runs over that one guy. Yeah, with
He
the
does
car,
get
yeah.
shot.
Yeah, he runs over the deaf man.
He gets shot with a paintball.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, there's just a little
He gets
red...
shot with a cherry tomato.
So Tommy Lee Jones needs to break into the chop shop, break into the building to get back the supercar. He wants to join forces with the NASA guys, but they want nothing to do with this. So he seeks out the help of Iron John, his laid-up construction site overseer boss.
I don't...
What luck that he happens to be friends with the guy who built the fucking towers.
I don't actually know who this actor is, but I did note in the credits that he got and this guy as Iron John. And it's all like, I mean, that's the credit that you want.
Yeah. Who was on his deathbed, apparently.
Oh, yeah, he's got, like, the air mask.
Oxygen,
mask on, yeah.
There are a lot of scenes where they go into great detail about why these buildings are impenetrable fortresses.
Yes.
Why?
Because because Robert Vaughn doesn't want anybody breaking in to know about his illegal car stealing ring. Or whatever, I guess he has like enough money to build twin towers, one across from one another. One of them is like the false tower. Nothing's going on there. Nothing to see here.
But then, it's the like misdirect. Yeah.
It's the misdirect tower. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, just say that like, these towers are heavily guarded. You know, they don't have to go into details of talking about the blueprints or like the false blueprints that they gave to City Hall.
Yeah.
Like, just tell us that it's hard to get into this building. Boom. We don't need like 3 fucking scenes where they go over the blueprint details, where they go over the security system details. It makes for a very, very boring movie.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes. So Ryland kind of chews Nina out. Rightfully so, for stealing the most conspicuous car in the world, even though like the job was to steal all the other cars except that one. There's a pretty good line of dialogue here that I really quite liked, where Ryland says,
Interesting machine. What is it?
It's an interesting machine.
Which is one of those lines where you're like,
thanks.
Is that a great line of dialogue or the worst line of dialogue that's ever been written?
It's a dad
right
joke.
in the middle. Yeah, something to do with that. And then Ryland's all like, you can't keep that car for yourself because it's obviously a very conspicuous experimental prototype, and I don't know what's doing here. So yeah, they lock it behind a chain link fence, and
with a master lock,
and there it stays for the remainder of until the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, hope you got a good look at that supercar. And Linda Hamilton is so pissed off about losing her new car that she threatens to kill herself by driving to a wall, but Robert Vaughn has a soft spot for her, so he lets her go without crashing into the wall.
Oh,
because like
I wouldn't say it's a soft spot. I'd say it's getting progressively harder by the moment. He talk about creepy fucking people, fucking.
Oh yeah, he's got.
Yeah,
I mean, like whenever she's not around, he's watching all these like old home movies that he took of her, because
interviewing her.
Yeah, so like she in her youth, she stole one of his cars. And he apprehended her and said, like, you have some talent. How'd you like to steal cars for me? Which is pretty similar to what happens in Baby Driver, I think.
I also love how they personify young Linda Hamilton it's just Linda Hamilton with a hat on.
A red hat.
A red hat.
Like, oh, she's younger.
Red, the color of youth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Nina goes to a bar where Quint is waiting, and
they have no dialogue.
No, and yet he somehow charms his way into her car, and they've had like a few moments where they've. You know, like, they haven't, like, talked or whatever, but, like...
Flirty eye contact.
Yeah, they, like, bumped into one another, and
that's
like...
the only thing they said to each other at this point was, oops, sorry.
Yeah. And, like, you know, like Nina's a thief, like Quint, so, like, my assumption is that, like... She's all like, I've made this guy. Like, I know, like...
You've got the look.
He's up to something or whatever, and I'm all like, okay, so she's, like, teaming up with him or whatever, because she's gonna, like, I don't know, like, infer something or whatever. It's gonna, like, set off, like, some sort of, like plot within plot, and, like, she's gonna try to get the car back. But the next time we see her, they are fucking. They are in bed. They are mid-coitus. And I guess the raw sexual appeal of a 1980s Tommy Lee Jones was just too much to turn down.
Is that just what hookup culture was like in the 80s? Like, you just, like, make eyes across the bar?
I mean, yes, but, like, look, okay. I have no doubt that Tommy Lee Jones is a kind and generous lover. I'm sure that once you get to know him, he contains multitudes. But, like, he wouldn't be my first choice for a hookup. You know,
No,
like there's like
no,
you go to
no.
a bar, and if you just wanted some random strange, Tommy Lee Jones wouldn't be your first choice.
No.
No matter if he like stands in front of your car and refuses to get out of the way.
He takes him back to like the fucking art
No
installation
offense.
gallery that she lives in,
Yeah.
and like he stays the night. And I guess they're the couple now because they leave little cutesy notes for each other all the time. Like, hope your car doesn't get stolen.
Yeah,
Hey, don't steal my bike. Ha, ha, ha.
It's a thief joke. We're both thieves.
Yeah.
There's another fun line of dialogue here where she's after sex, she's going through his wallet and she's seeing all of his fake IDs and passports, and she says, "How many names have you got?" And then he counters, "How many wigs have you got?"
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
like,
Zing.
He got her. Women be shopping.
Did you? I don't think any of those photo IDs looked like Tommy Lee Jones.
I mean, he is a very recognizable
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, that's. I don't know. He's just young. I don't know. He photographs different.
Yeah. So the NASA guys try to get the car back themselves, but that's when Tyke gets run over.
Right.
And
Poor
there's-
Tyke.
Yeah, poor Tyke.
Well,
Yeah.
he was such an important character.
Mhm.
He really
Fan
needed.
favorite.
My favorite thing about him is how much he needed to be there.
Guy with
Probably
no
just like
dialogue.
someone's little brother or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah. So the scientists decide, okay, well, maybe we do need Tommy Lee Jones' help. So they go back to him. They break into his fucking apartment instead of just like waiting outside for him. I just
And
love
they always rough him up every time they see him. They're always pushing him against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is getting manhandled all over the place
Yeah.
here
Mhm.
until it becomes like full out ass kicking, which is I believe the next scene.
Yeah.
where he goes back to Trapper John.
Iron John.
Iron John, Iron John MD, and who's already dead.
Yeah.
Who's already been
Oh,
shot.
everyone's favorite fucking character.
I know. He
Yeah,
got the
oh my
end.
God.
He got the and. He's in one
He's
fucking
in one
scene.
fucking scene.
2. And he's dead.
Well, yeah,
He's
the
dead.
other scene is he's a corpse, yeah. But Ringer is back, and Ringer has his goons, and holy shit, Tommy Lee Jones gets his ass
He gets
kicked
his ass.
in this
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
Oh, they like pick him up by his crotch at
They
one
kick him
point,
in the
and,
nuts a bunch
they
of
kick
times.
him right in the nuts. It looked bad.
Throwing his head into a car and everything.
Yeah, that guy picked him up and threw him right into a car.
In the head, yeah, like by the nutsack, and then just like head first into the car windshield.
Yeah.
And apparently Tommy Lee Jones has a gun under the
Yeah.
car.
Which is not established at all.
We haven't seen him use guns once at all in this movie. And now all of a sudden he has a gun when he goes in to see Iron John, and now he's also got another gun underneath his car.
Like, how are we as an audience expected to know that he keeps a gun in a bag under
Yeah,
his car?
it's like, oh,
Is that just like a commonly understood
I mean, it
trope?
came in handy.
Like a key under a mat, like people just know that you can always find, or like a set of keys under the
A burn in the
visor.
hand and
I feel like that's
gun in a car.
a dangerous place to leave to store a gun. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, what's his mindset? Oh, I'll probably get my ass kicked by my car one day, and I'll just crawl under when they're really gonna kick my ass, and I'll get it.
He's got guns hidden everywhere. He's like an alcoholic, but for guns. Like he's got one in his toilet tank.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Quint.
Did you notice when they were beating him up? One of the thugs said, "Yeah, kick his butt." And
I did not notice that.
I just clocked that because it's like earlier there was a guy at the bar saying, "I'm gonna fuck your brains out." How did we get to kick his butt all of a sudden? This is like an R-rated movie. Like where did that come from?
It's like that rule where they says like, oh, PG-13 movies you're allowed one fuck. But I
Right.
think they
Right.
said like, well, fuck, we used up all of our swear quota in this movie. They didn't realize that. Oh, you can still slip in a couple of shits and ass and.
I think this might have been right before PG-13 was a thing, because PG-13 famously was invented for the movie Gremlins, and I think that comes out the year after this.
Interesting.
So this is like
Okay.
right on the this probably was
What's
an
it
R.
rated? What's the movie
I
rated?
gotta say R.
I'll look that up while you continue
Sure.
the plot.
All right. So Tommy Lee Jones, while he's beaten to shit and probably concussed, drives to Linda Hamilton's place in a scene that I thought was actually pretty nerve-wracking because he's swerving
Oh yeah,
around
he's
everything, and,
losing
like,
consciousness.
Yeah, he's like drifting in and out of consciousness.
Yep, rated R.
Okay.
For mild sex and nudity. I mean, we see Linda Hamilton's breasts.
We do.
Yeah.
I noticed that
Mm-hmm.
because the first time when they're hooking up, Tommy Lee Jones has his arm, and I was like, okay, they're not going to show anything, and then they did, and I was surprised.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I mean, I'm always surprised when I see a booby. But
Booby.
it makes sex a little awkward.
He said booby.
I did say booby. It's my podcast. I can say booby
Yes, you
whenever I
can.
want.
No, just commenting
In
on
fact, new rule, we have to say booby at least one per episode.
Can I just call you a boob and have
No,
that be
you
part of
can
my
call
quota?
him you can call him a booby.
You can call me a booby.
Okay.
if I've done or said something booby equivalent. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
So what happens?
So Linda Hamilton says, like, okay, do you really need this car? And he says, like, no, he just needs the tape, but they may as well just go get the car. So, I guess, like, she hatches a plan on herself to get the car out, but she gets captured. I don't know what the fuck happens. Robert Vaughn, she goes to see him, and he's like, hey, I know that you're fucking Tommy Lee Jones who's trying to break into my facility.
Oh, yeah,
because we have closed caption
they
security
closed
footage
captioning.
of her apartment.
Because we think that, like, Ryland is just masturbating to, like, footage of, like, the one interview he did with her. No, he's masturbating to live CCTV footage
Of her house.
of her apartment.
Yeah.
Because he shows her a recording of her and Tommy Lee Jones mid-coitus.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it wasn't obvious enough before, he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good.
Mhm.
I don't know. My notes don't make any sense. I just have like a lot. I wrote a lot about how much Tommy Lee Jones got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
I devoted about half a page to that for some reason. Yeah, and then we mentioned that like Nina was like a street criminal, and then like Ryland took her in or whatever, and she's been.
I
working with
gave
that,
you everything, and
Yeah.
she's like, you
Yeah.
gave me your life.
Yeah.
And
I like how Ryland is like absolutely everywhere inside his building. Like when they're like breaking in later, like you see like the security guard is all like, "Oh, the footage is cutting out. That's weird." And then Ryland just steps into frame, like, "What's going on?" He's a very hands-on boss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot himself.
He
yeah.
knows his way around those towers, man. He's got little secret passages. and-
micromanaging everybody.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't delegate.
So Tommy Lee Jones and the scientists hatch a plan where they're looking at the blueprints and they're talking, okay, I'm going to infiltrate from this tower, which is abandoned or like still under construction, so it'll be easy to get into. I'm going to scale from like to the top of the building. I'm going to rappel to the other side and everything.
And us as audience members are all like, "Well, that will be cool when that happens."
So, two things I want to bring up about this whole planning sequence. One, he mentions time is of the essence, and then he sets a timer for them talking about
Yeah,
the
why
plan.
did
Yeah,
they
what?
why did they
40
time-
seconds.
To show the fact that time is of the essence, I'm going to time this conversation.
Just to
And
show you.
To get us used to timing ourselves.
That was so confusing.
That was very weird. I don't know why they
And the
did that.
timing, and that doesn't factor into their whole plan at all, because it takes more than 40 goddamn seconds for them to break into that other building. But I guess it's just like, that's a John Carpenter staple when your whole movie's getting rushed.
Yeah.
He does like ticking clocks, John Carpenter.
Yeah.
He likes it when a countdown
Yeah.
is involved.
He does
The
like
other
countdowns.
thing I wanted to mention about this, and I assume only you're going to appreciate this, Kaz, when Tommy Lee Jones is talking about how unsecure the other building is, he says there's nobody on guard duty there except for Deputy Dog.
This building is one of the most secure buildings I've ever seen. There's no way in. The weakness is this building, the unfinished building with no security system other than Deputy Dog.
Oh, I didn't even clock that.
You didn't? I
I pushed it out of my mind because you wouldn't let me use it as our sign off
Because
anymore.
it's a
so I
it was
let
a
it go.
stupid sign-off.
I had to like I couldn't live in that relationship anymore, Jameson. I had to move on with my life.
I'm glad you did. But when that line came up in the movie, I was like, oh, fuck, I guess we got to bring this up.
I could totally see Tommy Lee Jones playing a character named Deputy Dog, by the way. Like, he wouldn't even need makeup.
I can see him
He's
voicing
got-
the
yeah.
cartoon
Oh,
dog.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
I think it would sound a little something like this. America is, I'm not even trying anymore.
Sasha, Malia, go to bed. So
That's appropriate, right? White people doing Obama impressions?
he's the president. You're allowed to poke fun at the president.
Sure,
Yeah.
let's say that. Let's
All
go. You know what? It's political satire.
Oh, now
We're-
this
we're
podcast just got canceled. I'm so sorry.
Great, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's the night of the big break-in, and Tommy Lee Jones uses all his high-tech gear to break into the facility, including like this laser cannon that blinds all the cameras.
It's a series of lasers and mirrors.
Yeah.
Which is very 80s. They have like one of those mirrors that the dentist uses, and he just points the laser at the camera, and they can't see it, and just scrambles the camera. And they do the thing where they like record 40 minutes of the camera going back and forth, and then they play it on a loop.
Yeah.
Stock footage.
Yeah. I mean, they do all the old
all the
chestnuts.
tricks.
Yeah.
And they bust out all the tricks.
All the tricks. No expense was spared for Black Moon Rising.
No.
Talking about saving money on a budget, Tommy Lee Jones shoots a grappling hook from one building to the other, and we're all like, hell yeah, this is gonna be cool. And then it's not really. He just kind of climbs across, and
he just shuffles across.
He's acting like it's a big deal, and every once in a while we cut to the hook, and it's all like, oh, it might fall, but of course it doesn't, because he's got to get across. And then
I always thought
it's the best 1986 could do. I
always thought it was impossible for like once a grappling hook is fastened on the other side, it's almost impossible for them to get shaken loose. Mm-hmm. I always thought that's how they worked, because there's like at least like the two hooks, and then there's like the strong reinforcing. I don't know the term.
You're speaking from your experience of rappelling down a building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it wasn't done through like a grappling hook. But I always thought
what's the point then?
Yeah. Well, the thing I wanted to mention about like the grappling hook getting loose is because in the earlier scene, Tommy Lee Jones is hurt, so it's difficult for him to shimmy across, which I thought was kind of a nice touch. But then
it's difficult to shimmy across a rope even if you're not hurt. It's a hard thing to do, I imagine.
Yeah. But with the hook just shaking loose, I just think, there's going to be a part where it does come loose and he's going to swing like Tarzan to the other side, or he's just going to have to do a leap of faith and grab onto the side of the building with like seconds to spare.
And
by the skin of his teeth.
Kind of happens.
But it doesn't.
I mean, he does have to hold onto the side of the building.
Yeah.
But then he pulls himself up. And
no, he totally could have made it. That loose grappling hook factors barely factors into.
He should have just man-on-wired it and just fucking walked across or whatever. It would have taken less time.
But like I was saying before, this is just a movie that is really good at cutting all the tension out of their scenes.
I mean, and the next 10 to 15 minutes of this movie are just them doing the heist, and it's just a lot of wordless scenes of just Tommy Lee Jones in rooms behind other rooms, and you're looking at the fiberglass insulation, and it's just nothing is visually interesting here. No one's doing anything. The NASA guys who are still alive are in the basement, and they're fiddling with wires, and it's just all so boring. Nothing is going on.
Yeah.
And it was around here that I'm trying to reckon with why isn't this movie totally working? What's the element that's missing? And I just realized it's just what's Quint's deal? You know? What is he into? What does he like to do? What do we know about Quint?
Very little.
He steals things.
Yeah.
That's basically it. There's no character development to any of the characters here. Mm-hmm. And if there's going to be
He did order a beer, so he probably likes beer.
Hey, there you go. He likes stealing things in beer. That's all you need.
Making love to women.
Yeah. That's a character.
I mean, compare that to Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China, the other John Carpenter movie that came out this same year. I mean, early on, we see him on the CB radio and everything, so we know that he has a wacky sense of humor and everything. We know we learn things about his private life. It's been a while since I've seen Big Trouble, but that's a fully fleshed out character. And we don't know anything about any of these kids. We don't know anything about the NASA people.
None of them.
No, they're just blank slates. And when they're not doing anything, it makes it terribly boring for the audience because we're not invested in Quint. We don't know what makes him tick. He just wants to retire. And
do this one last job.
Yeah, one last job, and then I'm done.
So he rescues Linda Hamilton, who's trapped in a closet.
This is great. This is the funniest line delivery from Tommy Lee Jones, because she's pounding on the door and she's let me out, and he opens the air vent and he goes down, and in the most casual way possible he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah, what are you doing?
I can't sanction your buffoonery.
I laughed so hard because he just doesn't give a fuck.
And she doesn't even she just goes, "Look, can you get me out of here?" There's no surprise. Holy shit, how did you get in the vent, and how are you looking down on me?
And then they crawl into the biggest air duct that has ever existed.
But before they do that, they decide to tape the vent back to make sure that like, what was that about? Why did...
I mean,
Throw him off the scent, I guess?
Yeah, well, but even...
Like, she's not there.
She's not in the room! That's the important thing! When Robert Vaughn comes back later, he's
He'd be like, well...
She vanished into thin air!
Yeah, well, she must be in the washroom or something, because the vent is intact.
Oh, I must have stashed her in another closet.
That was another hilariously abrupt scene, too, later when Robert Vaughn opens the door. He's just kind of like, Nina! Shit! And then he's gone. He's gone immediately.
He doesn't have, like, a goon or a runner he can send to do shit like that.
He doesn't even take a beat to let it process or whatever. He's just like, I gotta go, next scene. Yeah, this vent is huge. They could have a fucking picnic in this vent. It's so big.
It's massive. It's
a lot of air coming through that vent.
Oh yeah. Who designed this? Well, Iron John designed it, but like
he designed part of it. He makes it very
why do they
clear,
need air ducts that big if not for this explicit activity? So they get to the chop shop and they get the supercar back, and then they do donuts around the.
There's another line. I'm pointing
sorry.
out,
Go back.
This is where like all of like the lines of dialogue that apparently like I liked in this movie pointed out. But like Tommy Lee Jones, he's stolen like a henchman's uniform, and so like him and Nina are walking, and he's trying to pick the lock,
the master lock.
And Nina's all like. Come on, we gotta get out. We gotta get out of here. It's all like, I can't do this. It's obsolete. And we gotta look at it. It's just a lock.
It's just
a regular. Those locks still exist today. Yeah. It's not obsolete at all, Tommy Lee Jones. You just don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You're just a mediocre thief.
You're medium thief.
You're not very good at this.
What kind of thief doesn't know how to pick a lock?
And hey, since
it's not a really it's not a really complicated lock. It's just a master lock.
He has like all these like fancy like code breakers, and lasers, and he doesn't think to bring fucking bolt cutters with him to this job.
And look, since I've already invoked this, since I've already invoked Big Trouble in Little China, Jack Burton is not a great hero. He's not good at everything. He kind of like he's good at. I mean,
that's the joke.
He's good at catching knives and throwing them, and that's what ends up saving the day. But other than that, he's kind of not good at anything. Mm-hmm. But that's what makes an interesting character. So having like a flawed protagonist who's kind of a mediocre criminal is interesting. That's an interesting movie to watch. You need to give us more than that, though.
The difference there is that Jack Burton has like this full of bravado, swagger personality. Tommy Lee Jones does not have that.
I mean, he does, but not in
compared to Kurt Russell.
No, well, certainly not compared to Kurt Russell, no. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is good at commanding authority.
Yeah, definitely an interesting casting choice.
He doesn't do a lot of... he doesn't do low status very well. Mm. He's always like the coolest dude in the room.
Yeah.
Apparently other people who were considered for this role were Jeff Bridges, Don Johnson, Tom Berenger... and Matlock's Richard Dean Anderson. No, I'm sorry. The other Simpsons one. MacGyver. Richard Dean Anderson from MacGyver.
You know what? None of those guys could have made this character work.
No.
Yeah.
I think also the trivia said that it was originally offered to Bronson. But again, Bronson is kind of in the same vein as Tommy Lee Jones. He's a stone-faced, don't fuck with me kind of guy. Yeah. Old before he was old. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Who could have made Quint sing?
No one. No, you could have cast an unknown in this role.
Sure.
Yeah. So Tommy Lee Jones, Linda Hamilton, they get the supercar. They get themselves into an elevator.
Well, they try to do the thing because...
No, those guys blow up the hole, but then there's a gate.
Yeah.
Surprise gate! And Robert Vaughn's like, I've trapped them!
That wasn't in my first mistake of letting Linda Hamilton go.
That wasn't in the blueprint. That was the line.
That was, yeah. He got them. It was good. It was a good villain reveal, yeah. And they're forced into a big service elevator, and they go up to Robert Vaughn's lair, where all of the villains are standing in front of the elevator, and then when the elevator...
Waiting to be run down.
Yeah, it's like, what did you think was going to happen? They're in the fastest car in the world. Why did you think they wouldn't try to run you over the second the doors open?
Yeah. You don't think you're just going to open fire as soon as, like, the doors open?
Yeah. And then, they do donuts around, and Robert Vaughn's like, whoever you are in there, and around that moment, we realize, the hero and the villain never meet in this movie.
Nope.
It's like the Fifth Element that way. It's like, he sees them on a camera, but they have no dialogue.
Well, he hits him with a car, too.
Yep. Yeah, he gets run over.
The muscle gets shot by Linda Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I have to imagine was meant to be like the stunt of the movie.
It's on the poster.
It's in all the posters.
Yep.
And I was thinking to myself, this is a kind of like a pretty cheap looking movie and kind of boring, but I bet you they're saving it all for that fucking money shot where the car leaps out of one building and drives across the plaza
that does
into
happen.
the other building.
But
it's not that car that does it.
It's a Matchbox car for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's a model.
Yeah.
But yeah, it jumps from one building to the other, which of course was later stolen outright by Fast and Furious 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say they did it a little better. They gave
debatable.
It a little,
It's debatable.
It's debatable. Yeah.
I mean, what was the story there? Like, they couldn't find like 2 buildings that were going to get demolished. They would, get the insurance to shoot one car from one building to another. Like,
Are you suggesting that they should have done that stunt practically?
yes.
That's not a thing that someone can do. It's movie nonsense, Jameson. Someone would die if they tried that in real life.
Hey, James Cameron managed to get a helicopter to fly underneath a highway overpass in real life.
Yeah, and he put many stunt people's lives at risk in
That's
doing
what stunt
so.
people do, Kaz.
Well, Harley Cokeless is no James Cameron. I'm just going to say it right
That's
now.
fair to say.
No one is putting any faith in the director of Battle Truck.
All right, so
I'm sorry, Battle Truck!
So the prop car makes it across the jump, and then they are accosted by Ringer again.
Yeah.
He somehow knew that they were going to be in that building on that floor at that time.
Same with the FBI guy.
Yeah, show up. Why?
No one's got
no
one's got cell phones.
Yeah. Linda Hamilton has the world's biggest cell phone
Oh yeah,
in one
she's got
scene.
that brick. Yeah.
And then Tommy Lee Jones and Ringer start duking it out.
Well, but he's got all of his goons there too, and like we saw earlier that and he's like super injured now because he just got his ass kicked by Ringer and like his 2 goons. But now he can take on all of them single-handedly. He beats up like 3 guys.
He was that adrenaline rush from making that jump.
I mean, they would have to do
God
that.
damn,
yeah.
I'm such a man. After doing that, his testosterone was just through the roof.
I would have.
Yeah.
And he beats the shit out of Ringer. And
I love how the FBI guys are just like, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Like as much as they don't get along with Tommy Lee Jones, he is their guy.
Yeah.
And they did commission him to do a job for them.
And Ringer is... Yeah, because Ringer's not going to give them the tape. He's working for the people who don't want them to get the tape. So if Ringer kills Quint... And I guess maybe the FBI could intercept.
All right, maybe we should intervene now that Tommy Lee Jones is dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they cut him with a razor blade. I guess we should.
Yeah, he's got a razor blade to Quint's throat, and they are physically holding Linda Hamilton back. It's all like, no. See what happens.
Give him some room.
Let this play out.
He's got It's a very much like, you know what, Quint's got that. I know Quint's history. He's
Quint's
got
my
this.
boy.
Sometimes
this is the moment where he's gonna turn it all around.
Yeah.
And he's just got his throat slit, blood's gushing. I was like, any minute now.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Any second.
He'll be fine.
Tommy Lee Jones wins, but he lets Ringer live. He leaves like the razor blade on.
Well, you gotta leave room.
Neck.
You gotta leave room
for the sequel.
Black Moon
Descending.
Setting? Black Moon setting. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. And the scientists get the car back and it's like dinged all to shit, but
they say like, forget the Italians, let's talk to Boeing because this car can fly.
You know what? When I first heard that, I had to rewind it because in my ear I heard "Let's go bowling."
Let's go
like Walter in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Like, look what happened to our car. Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day for everyone.
And
then it cuts to Linda Hamilton and Tommy Lee Jones in bed, but he's too injured to have sex.
He's too sort of fucked.
Oh, he's too sort of fucked.
Oh, yeah.
She just can't go on top, or
can't do any mouth stuff or anything.
That's how this movie ends, with mouth
and
stuff.
that's the movie.
Hardcore mouth stuff.
And that's how I would end my rant. And like, he doesn't even get lucky at the end. What the fuck?
There's some stuff happening underneath the sheets, and I guess the police now have like a pile of bodies to sort through, because this powerful businessman has been run over in his own building, but no big deal. I mean, I guess his illegal car ring has been exposed now, or
But what about his legitimate business? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, what is his legitimate business? Who is he? What does he do? These are questions that are not answered by the movie, or if they are...
He hires street urchins to boost cars.
We don't know who anybody is.
He's like the Fagin of the legal car ring. Yeah.
Anything else we want to mention about this movie?
Did we cover everything?
I think, we kind of went by shot, which was pretty cool. I kind of replayed it in my mind, and
was it any better?
It was
Couldn't
not
be any worse.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The
wasn't
one
better.
thing, sorry, the one thing I wanted to mention was every scene that's shot at night is always illuminated by this massive fucking spotlight. Did you notice that?
The movie is very overexposed, and it's usually when we're staring at Tommy Lee Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like like at first, because the first scene is him in the convenience store, and I'm so like, okay, well, that's just like bright convenience store lighting,
Yeah,
and then it
light.
happens in every scene.
These just massive floodlights are just illuminating the sides of buildings. When people are driving and we're seeing like front on them behind the steering wheel, I gotta imagine that they can't drive with that huge fucking spotlight blinding their eyes.
A lot of people were driving cars in this movie and could not see where they were going.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I just noticed like the sweet 80s like product placement that's all over this movie. I mean, like from the very first scene.
Pepsi.
Yeah, when he walks into that thing,
Yeah.
it's got that great thing where it's like the cup on the end of
the
like
spiral
the
thing.
pole,
Yeah.
but they've put like Pepsi trickling down or whatever.
But it's really just like a spiraling.
Yeah, I remember-
miss that kind of shit.
Growing up, there was a water park in Kelowna that had like a big faucet that was like that same idea, and like as a kid, I'm all like, how did they do that?
How does it keep
Magic!
going? Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, there's that. Like at the gas station, there are these big signs for Hires root beer, and I'm like, and then like when Ringer's thugs are like beating him up in Trapper John's,
Iron John.
Iron John, whatever. and,
Trapper
like, he gets knocked into a filing cabinet, and a big box of Dunkin' Donuts falls on him.
Oh,
So like,
that's
okay,
right.
so
Empty
like,
box of Dunkin'
there's
Donuts.
some big product placement going on here. I was hungry.
All
by the
that
end
money
of it.
going
Yeah.
towards something.
Yeah.
Probably going towards making a practical car. Because it was a real driving
They
car.
didn't have to make. I mean, all they really needed to do was just create the engine and then put a bunch of fiberglass around it or whatever. Oh no, I'm sorry, Kevlar, because that's obviously what it is. According to the trivia, Linda Hamilton hated working with Tommy Lee Jones on this. He was
Apparently, he's not very
easy
fun
to get along with.
to work with.
Yeah, he is a bit of a. Tommy Lee Jones is a bit of a grouch. I don't get that from him at all.
Well, he hated working with Jim Carrey as well, but like at this point, you have to imagine. That,
I mean,
Tommy Lee Jones, if you're surrounded by a bunch of assholes, chances are you're just the asshole.
I can understand Jim Carrey maybe being a bit much.
90s Jim Carrey, yeah.
But apparently, apparently Tommy Lee Jones was struggling through alcoholism while he was making this movie.
Okay, well,
so
that's much less.
he maybe wasn't on. He maybe wasn't at his best in general while he was doing this at all. Yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. Music, not that bad.
When it showed up.
Kind of an interesting theme. Kind of vaguely John Carpenter-ish,
Yeah,
but
that's
maybe...
what I was like, did he do it?
No,
Or-
it's Lalo Squiffen, who's another sort of like 80s composer and whatnot. But yeah, maybe it's just like the synthesizers just make me think of Carpenter, because that's his whole deal. That's what
I
he
noticed
likes.
in that scene where he's on the roof of the building and looking to rappel to the side, I was thinking, this is almost done in dead silence.
Yeah.
And you would think something like this to at least give it some levity. Give me that classic John Carpenter synthesizer score, and there's not enough of that in this movie.
No, there's not enough of a lot in this movie. Well, we've come to the end of our rundown, and this is the point of the podcast where we ask the question, Graeme, Jameson, does this movie have a certain something, or is it just a whole lot of nothing?
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's got so much nothing that there's something there.
I mean, every movie has something.
You know, like
it's maybe not the best question. I might need to workshop the question a little bit.
It's too late now.
But yeah.
I just had such high hopes for this movie, and it disappointed at every fucking turn.
Yeah, the name of I didn't know anything about this movie. I went in totally blind, and the poster's
very misleading,
and the name. Like I said at the start of the podcast, I was like, oh damn, this is gonna be like a sick sci-fi fucking action movie. Turned out to be not that.
No,
hardly an action movie.
Hardly.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards the side of this being a nothing movie. I mean, it is a movie that you could have on. You could totally watch this maybe on like a Saturday afternoon. You could like pay attention to moments, but there's just like long stretches where nothing happens in this movie. And yeah, I was fairly let down by it. Yeah, so I think that's 3 nothings for all of us, and This is great. This is how we keep
On a whimper.
this is how
Aren't
we
these
keep
the,
the
aren't
energy
these
up.
the movies that you want to talk about?
We do, but sometimes we find like
Little
gems.
hidden
We find like
gems.
diamonds in the rough. Yeah.
Right.
Is we're at the end of the Linda Hamilton trilogy. Is the best movie we covered A Sunday Horse?
It might be.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is the Christian horse movie that she made with William Shatner. I think that ended up being
like the least inoffensive.
The
most competently
Linda Hamilton
made
movie. I mean, we could have watched some other Linda Hamilton movies, but these are the three that we picked.
Mm-hmm.
And did we learn anything, Jameson? Did we learn anything from
What did
from
you
this
learn,
experience?
Taz?
I learned
we probably should have picked a different actress.
I learned that we let Linda Hamilton down.
Yes.
I feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
When I pick an actress again, I will do my due diligence. I will come with more history. I will come with more background, and I will pick someone with perhaps a more diverse career. As I have said on other episodes, the main reason we picked Linda Hamilton is because outside of 5 movies that are sort of known within the public consciousness, every movie she's made is a nothing movie, and I thought, like, how appropriate for this. We may have bit off a bit more than we could chew. But
That's not our fault, people. That's
no.
just the way the dice rolls.
Hey, absolutely. That's, and this is, we're kind of in the infancy of this new sort of outlook for the podcast. So, baby steps.
Yep.
Great.
They can't all be winners.
Can't all be winners.
They haven't all been winners.
Yeah. So Arnold, there was one movie we liked, and then 2 that were like meh, and then Mark Hamill, there was one movie that we liked, and then like 2 that were like meh. So we are keeping things going to
in
like a certain extent. Yeah. Yeah. Graeme, thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh man, this has been so much fun. It's so cool that you guys do this, and you are obviously know so much about movies, and I love movies, and it's really cool to be a part of the passion.
Speaking of movies, do you have any recommendations, anything you've seen recently that you want to pass on to our listeners?
I've been watching lots of TV shows.
Which are the new movies.
Yeah,
the new longer movies.
Yeah, they're broken up into 10 one-hour movies. I love Barry, HBO's Barry.
I know that just wrapped up recently. I've been waiting for a weekend where I think I'm like 2 episodes in. I'm waiting.
Of the first season or the third?
of the third.
Yeah, it was on Sunday. There was the finale, and I also loved Dave, the show Dave.
So you're really into shows
One
about
name guy,
like white men names.
Yeah. White men for single names.
Yeah. Dave. Barry, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan. I'm watching all those right now.
Watching reruns of Coach.
Frasier.
Becker. How long can we keep going with this? We're going into last names now.
Also, the last movie I saw in theaters was The Northman, which I absolutely loved.
Pretty metal. Pretty fucking metal.
Very metal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And, people can watch you on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, couple things I've done are some Hallmark things, which
people who listen to our podcast
they're
within that demographic.
Yeah. Just buy the streaming service, and you'll see me.
We're on there, and
and you're on there too.
You're on there too.
I'm on there too.
I'm the only one in this room not on there. Yeah.
God damn it. Get on it, James.
You guys can pull some strings and get me as a walk-on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can do background stuff.
Yeah.
You got a good Hallmark look.
Thank you. Wow.
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
There you go. Yeah, that's
Aryan poster boy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're looking for.
That's what I want to go for here.
Exactly. How do you feel about fuzzy sweaters? And empty cups of that should be filled with cocoa but are clearly empty.
And you have the Christmas spirit within you.
Where do I sign?
All right. Well, this would normally be the point. I'm just realizing I wanted to talk to you about this before we started recording.
Great.
This would be the point where we announce what our next trilogy is. I kind of want to hold off on that because if I play my cards right, the first episode of this next trilogy, trilogy.
Oh,
Which I will bleep out. I
Okay.
will leave that a mystery for you at home.
Oh,
Who
you
could that be?
motherfucker.
Based on the enthusiasm, it is a good one. But there's a particular guest that I want for the first episode, and I'm just trying to make sure that their schedules line up. So I don't want to announce something that I retroactively have to say. So we might be doing that next. Maybe we'll do like a palate cleanser. Perhaps we'll do like a one-off. If we have like a guest who just wants to come on and just do one movie about it, who knows?
Sure.
So next episode, TBD. Start speculating wildly. Write in to the website, Twitter, if you want to guess who we could be talking about. We have that. But yeah, we're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I checked out long ago.
Great. Well, that was Black Moon Rising, directed by Harley Cockless, or possibly Harley Cockless. Who's to say? Who knows? It's a mystery.
Your choice.
It's a mystery.
Player's choice.
Player's choice.
Yeah.
Coke or cock. How do we end this? We'd like to thank Joel Flynn and Luke Schuss and everyone at Podstream Studios for letting us use their equipment. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. If you like the episode, please listen to our back catalog of episodes where the title of the podcast is The Fuck Is This? It's just like this, except a little less focused on actors' filmographies and whatnot. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please check us out on YouTube, where Jameson adds all of these clips and still images from the movie, so it gives you a slightly more visual element. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I progressively get faster and faster with this outro.
He
every
closed
single
his
time.
eyes too.
Yeah.
I did, because I had to think. I was
My
thinking.
memory here,
My brain, my mouth was going
He's
faster
getting
than my
closer,
brain.
closer to his, your final words.
And you can hear my voices going, so this is where we should wrap it up. So, for Nothing Movies, I've been Kaz.
And I have been Jameson.
And we still don't have you know what? For one night only, you stay frosty, deputy dogs. You invoked it. It wasn't in my brain, but it's in my brain now. Ha ha! It's back.
One night only.
One night, one time only.